If you are looking for decluttering inspiration and motivation, then this is the video for you. It is spring here in Ontario and the decluttering bug has hit me hard. I recently spent a couple of days clearing our home of unnecessary clutter, and even after years of decluttering for our family and the families of our clients, it feels just as satisfying as when I first started. Today I am going to share what I let go of, why I let go of certain items, and how much I let go of total. My recent urge to purge actually came about because my husband went ahead and edited his entire wardrobe, closet, and everything. You might have remembered me mentioning in one of my recent videos that my husband Scott got a new job recently where he is no longer wearing the same uniform that he has wore for almost 15 years, which meant he had to get an entire new wardrobe of like office clothes, which was the perfect encouragement to review everything that he owned. Decluttering has now been part of our family and our everyday lives for so long that Scott really can do this on his own. He might ask for my opinion on a couple of things, but really he's used to making these decisions and used to letting go of things. As I always mention, practice makes perfect. I believe he ended up getting rid of almost 30 pieces of clothing. Okay, next I headed into the kitchen where I knew that there were 4 small, random, but satisfying things that I was ready to let go of. First off, I had saved a random pie box so that when I do baking for friends and family, I can use this to drop the items off. Well, reality check, I don't actually do baking in this phase of life for my friends and family. And if I do, it is so infrequent that there's no way I would even remember that I had kept this pie box. Next up are my kids' lunch boxes or bento boxes. We have used these for several years and absolutely love them. However, just this year, my 3rd grader officially announced nobody in his classes, none of his friends use bento boxes, and that's for babies, and he can no longer use them anymore. So fine, this year we shifted to using different types of containers that we already owned. And of course, my 1st grader also agreed. Well, she is also obviously way too cool for these now. So they have not been used or touched in months. So I am ready and able to let them go. Number 3 was a jar pump. So we now get almost all of our like household cleaning supplies and like personal products like shampoo, conditioner from a local refillery. For anyone who's ever done the switch to this, you know it kind of takes some practice to like figure out like a new system and new routine for that. And so when I first started doing that, I bought this pump thinking I needed it. Well, I have not used it for several years. It has just sat in my cupboard and collected dust. Lastly, my dishcloth drawer I know has just been driving me nuts and it just looked really nasty. So I did like a quick review of that, and there was a few cloths that I probably like should have let go of a year ago. So I got rid of those. And then there was like a random sponge I knew I never needed that I actually think I got free in the mail. And I only kept because Annie Rose saw it and thought it was cute and wanted to keep it. Next up was something brand new to us that I have never done before. A few weeks ago, I found a local not-for-profit organization that actually takes coins like from foreign countries, so foreign money, as donations, and then they change it into Canadian currency and use it to operate their organization. And I knew that we had a ton of old coins from different areas that we had probably had been gifted or that we had just like accumulated over the years from people who had gone on trips. And then you know how they love to give coins to little kids. These coins I had tossed in a kid's piggy bank because honestly I did not have anywhere else to put them. They have absolutely no sentimental value to us and they have just been collecting dust. I was so pumped about hearing about this, and so Annie Rose and I spent a bit of a morning and we dumped her piggy bank out. We went through all of her coins. I think there was over 40 coins that we can now drop off and donate. Has anyone else ever heard of this before? I had never heard of it and I was super excited about it. If you've never heard of it, maybe check it out in your area. That might be something in your area as well. Now, the end of every season or the beginning of a new one pretty much always motivates me to review our coats and like our shoe wear or footwear situation. This was an area where I had to force myself not to go too deep in terms of like cleaning and rearranging and tidying. As I mentioned in my recent supplies video, is that it's very easy to get off track if we kind of do go too deep with cleaning, and it takes us like off of our decluttering momentum. And I was able to find a work coat for Scott that he no longer needed, a spring coat for Leo, which was size 5 and he's now 8, and I have no idea how it fell through the cracks this long, a pair of boots of mine that I have more recently replaced with new to me boots that my friend was selling, 2 pairs of kids running shoes that have been outgrown, and a vest of Leo's and a coat of Annie Rose that fit them. And they're absolutely adorable, but they refuse to wear them. I am officially the age where my kids do not think anything that I pick is cool. Last month, we were gifted a little daffodil in a planter, and it was so sweet and adorable, and we ended up a few days ago actually putting it into our garden, and so therefore we were left with like the little plastic planter. I am 99% sure that these containers are not recyclable in our area. I know 100% for a fact that I will never use it. I am a horrendous gardener. It's so bad. And luckily, this was the perfect time of year to donate gardening supplies, and so I added that to my donate bin. In this haul, I had 2 very specific toy items to get rid of. We did just thrift an old keyboard for the kids to play with, to play like school, store, or restaurant, and they're loving that. And so I knew that we had this old cash register that they would probably never use again. So I asked Annie Rose about it, and she did not even hesitate. She said, yep, we are done with that. We can let it go. It was also one of those items that was so annoying to store. Very happy that I never have to shove that in our toy box ever again. Next up was a Lego kit that we actually received free at a community event at our local bookstore over the spring break. It was actually a really fun little activity to do. However, we're not huge Lego people, and I know that now that she's assembled it, she'll never really look at it again and won't care about it. And what I love about donating it now is that all the pieces are together and the instructions are there, and it can all be reassembled by another kid and really enjoyed, rather than keeping it for 18 months and losing half the pieces and losing the instructions and then having to throw out just like half of the pieces. Last week, I had to begrudgingly get a new phone. I am not techie, and I wish I could keep the same phone until my dying breath. However, my old phone would not turn on, so I had to get a new one. And as you all know, that means figuring out what charger do I have to have now? I need a new case to fit this phone, on and on and on. So I pulled out our entire tech tote, is what we call it. It has like all of our cords and batteries and stuff like that in it. And I did a quick review of everything. I actually had my husband come and help as well, because this is a category I definitely feel overwhelmed in. So I love having like an extra set of hands and an extra set of like brain power. I ended up tossing my old phone case. Can we like pause for a second about how frustrating it is that the phones are all different sizes and shapes and you constantly have to get new stuff every time? Drives me crazy. Anyway, I donated and or tossed my case and like several different cords and power cords and chargers that just were no longer relevant for any technology that we owned. A few months ago, one of our clients actually referred to these old cords as legacy cords, which I have been laughing about ever since, and it sounds so much more dignified than, that random pile of cords that I don't know what they're for, which is what I usually call them. Next up, I pulled out our gift bin. We have a gift bin that we keep in a secret closet in our basement to hold gifts that we're going to give people. It's 99% gifts for our kids for Christmas. So really, it's only used mostly in like November and December of every year. However, the odd time I will like pre-purchase gifts thinking, oh, this would be good for a kid's birthday party, or Amy Rose might like this next Christmas. I love the idea of it, and I love being organized. I love being ahead of schedule. However, so often this really ends up backfiring. I knew there wasn't much in there, but I wanted to do a quick review, and I ended up finding a top that I know would never fit Amy Rose anymore in a book that I know was in kind of too rough of condition that I didn't feel comfortable gifting it. We come across gift bins in client homes all the time. And sometimes they're amazing and people love them and they use them and they work so well for them. But in other cases, it often happens that the items are forgotten about or we're not able to locate them when we need them. The problem is often with gifts is that we want to hide them. However, that means they're also hidden from ourselves. So out of sight, out of mind. For anyone who watched my recent video about selling our old items, you may remember that there were definitely items that did not sell. This pile of stuff has been in my living room corner staring at me for over 2 weeks now, and I cannot wait to get out of my house. It included a camera bag and 2 pairs of kid skates that I'm happy to let go of. Last week, my brother sent me a text and he said, hey, do you like these hard shell gift wrapping storage bins? I said, yeah, they're great. And so the next day he dropped it at my house. Like, it was this thing in his basement, was it in his garage? I have no idea where this thing came from, but it ended up in my home and I love organizing products, so I was okay with it. However, I already owned a soft shell gift wrap storage bag and I knew there was no way I was keeping both. So I forced myself to make a decision. I ended up keeping the newer hard shell one and getting rid of the soft shell. As a side note, we have used both styles in client homes and they both work great. It's really just personal preference. This gave gave me the push to review all the gift wrap items that I had. So tissue paper, ribbon, cards, gift wrap, all of it. And we ended up letting go of, I think, over 20 items. And there were also some like Christmas decor, like little stakes that you put like in your yard or something at Christmas, which I didn't need and we don't have room for and I didn't want. So we passed those along as well. All right, so that's everything. Drum roll, anyone, any ideas for how much I got rid of? I did a quick count before I started this video, and I believe there were over 80 items, and that didn't count like, every single coin we got rid of. So if I had counted every single individual item, it probably would have been over 100 items. Once we get motivated, it is just crazy how much we can let go of in one go. Starting this new season fresh feels so good. It makes me even more excited about the warmer weather and spending our time outside with our family, soaking in that vitamin D, rather than being stuck inside managing all of the stuff in our homes. Is anyone else in the spring decluttering mode? What's one thing you've let go of recently that feels so good? If you're looking for other ideas to declutter, I shared one of my favorite categories that tends to have a big impact in one of my recent videos, which you can see right here. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.